Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Going into part 2 of today's episode of Tomb of Annihilation. So, we visited the Temple of Joaquin. To the north, much closer, we return to Ishi and Malik as they approach the Temple of Savras. Now, do either of you want to make a religion check to know a thing or two about who Savras is before you visit, or are you just going to go in sight unseen?
I don't have it, so I don't think I can.
Okay, so you're just like, I don't know, it's a human god.
But side note, while we're walking along towards this temple, Malik's getting treated to the full Ishi barrage of just constant dogging.
Because it's the first time the two of you have been alone, right? And it's I always find that interesting. It's like the conversation changes, even though you were together before. Now that it's just the two of you, the tenor of the conversation might be like a little different.
The thing in my head that's always been happening is I've been talking at Little Fox most of the time.
Right, because you have to fill the space.
Yeah, they're kind of, there's no conversation so much as there is just like random noise from Ishi. But with Malik, I don't know. It's just a barrage of questions like, oh, where'd you come from? What are you doing? Why are you here? How long are we going to be working together? And like all that kind of stuff. Just ramble. It's not important.
So Malik, how are you responding to this?
He'll answer every question.
She maybe even switches to Draconic because she knows you speak it.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, so the two of you are speaking in Draconic as you walk along. Awesome.
Yeah, especially since like I've learned it as a language. You kind of speak it naturally to an extent, though.
Yep.
I don't know. Did you? Yeah, like the questions start coming back eventually. Like when we're talking in Draconic, like, were you originally part of like an all kobold clan? Like, did your parents speak this to you as well as common? It's just, he's interested.
Well, we don't exactly have the same, ideas of parents, and like there's the whole kobold culture thing coming up, and yeah, she's from like a, mountain somewhere, relatively close to. I imagine even maybe she's from a Baldur's Gate colony, like a sewer colony kobold, like sewer maintenance folks. Because apparently a quarter of sewer maintenance is all kobolds in the big cities in the Forgotten Realms.
Yeah.
So she's probably from Baldur's Gate, and there's a lot of that coming back at you. And it's like, yeah, Draconic is the language, and we love that we're related to dragons, and dragons are cool, and I wish there was a dragon around that I could like say go and work for, but there isn't.
Well, Ishi, now that you mention it, there have been some rumors of a dragon who's been dubbed Tinder in the jungles to the south. A red dragon of some ill renown.
What was their name?
Tinder.
Tinder?
It's not their actual name, but that would be like a human like name for them. Yeah.
Are they famous for their tail swipes?
Yes, they can swipe both left.
I was
and
gonna
right.
say something, but yeah. So maybe she mentions that while we're walking as well. Like, well, there is one, to the south, but I gotta go through the whole jungle to get there, and then they might be angry, and angry dragons are dangerous.
You definitely know a lot of what's going on around here. Like I was saying back at the shop, I guess you're the person to talk to for finding people who need things found. I just hate to be out there, stumble upon something, and not realize its significance to somebody.
What I will be able to tell you is, if you drop something, I will be the one whose head it lands on.
In respect to what is that a metaphor?
Kinda, like close to the ground. It's more literal than anything, but I guess it works, yeah.
Sure. Okay, well, I don't know much about this god, but I know that...
Whoa, you know all kind of shit about this god.
Everything.
Yeah. I don't know much about Savras, except literally every goddamn thing. Savras...
You're not allowed to say goddamn, that's a bad thing. That's the first rule of Savras.
That's right. Don't say it.
Don't-
Savras. Savras is a now. Savras isn't the main god to wizards and spellcasters. That would be Mystra, goddess of magic. But Savras is a deity of a particular kind of wizard, a wizard who would seek to divine the hidden. They are fortune tellers, diviners, speakers of truth. Right? It's like taboo for a worshiper of Savras to lie. Savras is a god. It's one of those gods that he was raised up from mortalhood, right? He was a powerful diviner who was given by Mystra, probably. There's a bunch of different stories. Among your people, there is a belief that Savras was once a much more powerful god, but who stepped down from his position after seeing a terrible future, right? He was like a Netherese deity. So there's a bunch of different stories about the truth of Savras, but Savras, yeah, is the all-seeing eye, the one who he doesn't take action, but he sees the future. So his priests are going to be fortune tellers and what have you. And I think that as you're recounting some of this to Ishi, this is when the temple falls into view. It appears much like the Temple of Joaquin to be like mostly dome shaped, but this dome is tiled in at first ivory and white tiles, and then tiles of bright blue, and then tiles of black. So if you were to look at it from above, it would appear to be a giant eye. And so that's the thing about Savras. Do you have any questions? Anything that
what would be the proper? Sorry, I'm saying that. How would I probably pay respects to Savras? Because I figure, actually, the more I hear about it, Malik probably worships them a non-insignificant amount.
Yeah.
Like, he has his, like, base one that's part of his tribal upbringing, but not his tribal, his, like, cultural upbringing. But learning more about the Forgotten Realms in general, this is probably one that aligns even better with his own beliefs.
Yeah, totally. It would be much like in Chult, sort of an outsider deity, but one that fits, right? Where you're like, okay. So yeah, the thing is just don't lie. If you had something to offer that maybe no one else knew, right? Savras, the discovery of secrets, the revealing of truths. If there was like a widely held lie that you could uncover, that would be something that the priest would appreciate. And then obviously, like all gods love gold, right? Well, priesthoods do. That's how they keep the temple open. So the two of you, you're standing essentially in like the shadow of the temple. Around you is a neighborhood of walled villas. It's kind of like a garden neighborhood of like fine houses.
So why are we here again?
Well, I didn't realize that there was a temple here. I actually have a little belief myself. There's no reason not to, and we typically think the same way about a lot of things.
Well,
covering secrets. I'm an archaeologist. That's physically what I do, as well as metaphorically.
It's always seemed a little spooky to me. But,
You're welcome to come inside with me. I'm going to ask some questions about things that they're looking into, or would like looked into. But...
well, if I don't go with you, then I'm not fulfilling the job I said I'd do for Wakongo when he let me out of jail the first time. So yeah, I gotta come.
Do you think that you will be able to not... and you'll forgive me for saying this, but with your behavior back at the shop, it's not so much don't steal here, it's don't lie.
You don't get it. Okay, we don't know each other very well. It's fine. I understand that you don't get the whole taking things. Me and Wakongo, we have a special relationship.
Look, if you say so, as long as it isn't jeopardizing mine with him. He's an important person here.
Of course. I'm not going to say anything. You do all the talking.
She blatantly lies.
Yeah. Well, the thing about the Church of Savras is they have nothing to steal. Right? Like you can't steal ideas. They want to give them away. They reveal the truth. So yeah, I think you come inside, and I imagine this being kind of like the like the Parthenon or something. It's not a place where people live, but a place where people come to worship and to meet with priests. The iris above is open, or at least it's transparent, like glass, and so there's a pool of light that comes in. The place is quiet, and there are priests here who are lighting candles or praying or helping others pray at a series of reflecting pools all the way around the outside edge. There's a sort of like a still trough of water that runs on the edge that they can use to commit their rituals. And when you walk in, you are jostled hard by a group of 3 angry-looking men. They are wearing leather armor, and they are equipped with swords and knives. And one of them bangs into you, Malik, as he walks by, and you see him for a second. You can see his face. He has kind of drawn, like, hawkish features, steel gray eyes, and the olive skin of someone from the southern parts of the main continent. He might be Kalashite or Omnian, Tetherian, something like that. And he bangs into you, and he looks at you, and he's like, "Out of my way," and like shoves you out of the way, and the 3 of them walk by.
Yeah.
And when so there's this moment where you're like, ugh, and you're like jostled. There's an old man that's like walking in the same direction as them, and he puts his hands out. He's Chultan. He has just dark skin. He's bald. He's wearing long blue robes that you recognize immediately, that mark him as a priest of Savras. And then around his neck, he has a long silver chain with white stones hanging from it that look like eyes. And he walks up. And he
problem?
He puts his hands out, and he says to you, Malik, in common. He says, "I'm sorry. Did those men?" And he like looks past them, like scowling. Did they harm you?
No, it's quite all right. I will tell you a secret, Father. It seems they did not have enough respect. But that is one widely known. I was hoping to speak to one of you. I've recently come here. As you can see, I'm not from around here.
He nods, agreeing.
As one perhaps not as devout, but still a follower of the tenets of Savros, self-professed, though they were not part of my upbringing. I was hoping that during my travels out into the jungles, I might do some work for you or find things for you. Are there things that the temple wishes uncovered, particularly?
He kind of like puts his hand on his chest and he says, I'm having a most surprising day. First, these men demand of me, and then you come to give without asking.
I would like to just point out during this conversation that I have scampered off after.
Yeah, I figured. Okay.
Like as soon as they bumped into Malik, and then Malik was okay with it, I was like,
"I'm out." Scamper.
No. Yeah.
Okay. So he says to you, he says, I am the head priest here at the temple. You may call me Zitembe, though the acolytes call me grandfather. Either is fine. You're going into the jungle, you say?
We are. We've been, I suppose, contracted to find something in particular.
He nods. He says, "Much to find in the jungle."
Indeed,
well,
and perhaps
secrets are well hidden. You'll have a hard time of it. You have a guide, I presume.
We do. Hopefully working on earning her trust. And similarly, I believe this might be the best place to find information on what we're seeking. But first, as is only proper, I would ask if there is something I can offer you. For sometimes I do not know what secrets you seek without knowing that they exist in the first place.
He says, there is nothing that we seek in the jungle that I can imagine off the top of my head, but you seem an inquisitive sort. If you find anything that you find interesting, I do love a good story. Most of the time, and he gestures at you trying to think of a polite way to say this, because adventurers like yourself come to this place demanding magic, blessings, rituals. They want to see the future in case they are to be ambushed on the river or bitten by a poison snake. But you come here asking for nothing, seeking only to help. The gods are strange.
Indeed, I benefit from no small amount of, well, perhaps it is not divine in nature, but I feel Savras looks out for me. I have no small measure of luck, and I simply wish to give back in return. Yes, of course. I will come back with what I find.
Okay. Well, let's cut to Ishi. So,
Introduction.
Ishi, do you wanna try to remain stealthy? You wanna follow after them? I think you're muted, Elf.
Oh yeah, that's the plan.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right, that's fine. Okay, so make a stealth roll, and we'll see if they notice you following them. Oh boy, yeah. So I don't think it's even like an attempt. I think that you like follow them down the stairs. You come out as they're walking down the stairs, and the one in the back, they're all dressed like similarly. They're not in uniforms, but they're dressed similarly. The one in the back turns. And he's got like a long black braid, and it kind of like flaps on his. He looks at you and gives you this like fuck off kobold like look. It's like, don't follow us. He knows what you're up to.
Excuse me.
And he stops, and then the woman and the man that were in front of him, they stop, and they turn to look at him, and they give him a look like, what are you doing? And he, several steps up, looks at you, and you have like a briefest moment to like get their attention or whatever before he leaves.
You should apologize to my friend.
And he gives you a look like, what? And he takes a few steps towards you, and he says, I'm sorry, creature. I think I misheard you.
I don't know if you know who I am, but I'm kind of a big deal. You should apologize to Malik.
And he looks around, and he says, I don't know what things are like in this godforsaken armpit of a country, but where I'm from, you're vermin. And he like puts his hand on the hilt of his sword. He's got a short sword.
Well, if I'm vermin, this should be easy.
And he looks at his friends, and his friends are like, come on, we don't have time for this. And and he's like, he's torn. You could probably let him go and not fight you, but if you poke him again, this might get messy. These guys look like dangerous individuals.
Yeah, I don't have my 8 foot tall friend. I don't have my 8 foot tall angry friend. Yeah, and so if he looks like he's gonna turn around and leave, I'll just under my breath in Draconic be like, "Yeah, that's right, run away," and like go back up to Malik.
I'm gonna see if he hears you. All right, so you say that as he's turning, and you're like, that's right, run away. And he turns to look at you, and he's like, what did you say? And he takes a couple of steps towards you and like draws his sword. And when he draws his sword, his friends, they don't also draw swords. They're just like, oh, fuck. Like, this is not, we don't have time or whatever for this. They look
I
over.
draw my sword as well then, if it's just going to be the two of us.
They immediately look around for guards because they're like, we don't, like, there's something shady about these guys, and they don't want the attention of the guards. Yeah. And one of them comes up to this other guy with the sword, and he's like, it isn't worth it, come on. And he's like, did you hear what this little thing said to me? And takes like he does that awful thing that like bros do, where he lunges at you to try to like make you flinch.
Can I be there?
Is she totally flinches?
No, you're on the other fucking side of town, friend.
Is she totally flinches, but like tries to recover real hard? Like,
fall over a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you flinch, and he snarls.
You should listen to your friend. Your friend's right. Yeah. Yeah.
And you can hear some like maybe the like rattling sound of like guards are coming, and the other guy's like, come on, and he sheaths his sword and he looks at you and he's like, if I ever see you again, and he gives you that like I'll get you. And then the three of them like run off into an alley. A couple of guards come out into the area out front of the temple. But they don't look like city guards. These guys come from one of the manor houses nearby,
like house guards.
Yeah, and he comes up, and it's a man and a woman, and the woman looks at you. And what are you doing? Like, you're just standing on the stairs?
Yeah, I mean, I put my sword away when they run away, and I'm just standing on the stairs if these people are approaching.
Yeah, the woman walks up to you, and she doesn't have her weapons out, but she has like a shield and a sword at her side, and she walks up to you, and she looks at you, and she's like, Ishi.
What?
What was that about?
They were rude to someone I'm supposed to be protecting.
And they drew first.
And also that.
Little Fox's voice from a great distance. So she looks at you and she's like, so what? You're a bodyguard now, Ishi.
Well, yeah. You heard about von Saberberg, right?
Yes, Ishi, everyone heard. And she rolls her eyes and she says to you, God's help whoever you're protecting. Keep yourself out of trouble, Ishi.
I'm always out of trouble. The only trouble is trouble that comes to find me that I'm not part of, and then it finds me.
She rolls her eyes and turns around, and the other guard is giving her a look, and she's like, "It's just Ishi. Don't worry about it." And like, it's fine. And the two of them walk back to the house.
Cool.
So Malik, is there I guess you're leaving the temple as this is like deaccelerating, right? You walk out as Ishi turns around and sees you.
What was that about?
Just the thugs who ran into you, and then guards, and it's not important. It's really not. Let's find the others.
Yeah, he smiles at you and he just says, it didn't bother me, but I appreciate you protecting my honor, little one. And he says that in Draconic.
So what's the translation there? Like, is it patronizing, or is it like the way you would address like a young dragon to inspire it to grow bigger? Like, how is
he's been doing that. It's like
hatchling.
Yeah, she definitely digs the like draconic compliments. Nice. That's for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you've got an ideal about proving yourself worthy of
I do, yeah.
So take inspiration for what could have been a very nasty mistake on your part.
I figure I'm a duelist. I gotta duel something.
It's
maybe.
True,
you wait till we're higher level mysterious strangers.
That's right. We're coming back for
back.
you. Red side quest. Okay. All right. So the group of you reunite sometime later after spending the day out in the city. And let's say it's maybe just starting to get dark. You've spent the day out looking around, doing your shopping, visiting the temple. And do you meet up at the inn again?
Sure.
Okay. All right. So it's what did I say last time? 5 silver pieces, I think. Say. Okay. So you can pay your other 5 unless you want to sleep in the street. Is there anything else that you want to do in Port Nyanzaru, or in the morning should we meet with your guide?
Let's do the meet. Let's meet up in jungle.
We leave it dawn.
We leave it dawn.
All right. So
are we all? We pick a lineup with 4 jungling heroes. So
oh no, you can't all be in the jungle.
Everybody wants to play the jungle.
I go back to Waterdeep. I top lane that shit. Okay. So so you all have one last night, hopefully not your last night in Port Nyanzaru, but one last night in Nyanzaru for now, where another raucous night. There is a musician playing this night who he comes out in a cloak and carrying a case. And with grace, he flourishes aside his cloak, and you can see that he's covered in a thin orange fur with black spots, and he has a feline face and a long tail. And he sits down on the stool, and he produces a stringed instrument and begins to play a song. And the whole tavern is entertained by this tabaxi. Who is playing, and people give him coins.
I love Tabaxi names.
Mm-hmm.
Tabaxi names.
I was about to ask, what's his name?
I don't know. He's yowling though, and it's getting dark outside. And so it's just like another Rockets night, and the songs get louder and more crass as the evening goes on, and everyone starts drinking, and there's merchants and locals and visitors, and it's this place is the Thundering Lizard for a reason. And eventually you find your way to your bed in various states of sobriety to rest the night. Morning comes.
I would like to state also that I don't buy any food during that night because I've got a pocket full of soup from last night.
You realize the food comes with your room and you don't have to buy it, right?
You never know. Never know when you're going to get your next
You
meal.
don't want to spend extra money. You don't have to spend when you got a pocket full of soup. It's fine.
Yo, how are the biscuits here?
I sure.
No, how are the biscuits?
There are no biscuits here.
I share.
Yo, they don't do biscuits here? Dang it.
Why
I
are
share
we
my-
here?
I share my pocket soup with my pet mouse, who is named some form of like the
You want
kobold.
some soup? Sorry, it's not in a bowl.
Yeah, that's
All
right.
right, you Hank Scorpio your soup. Okay. All right. The night passes. I don't want to say uneventfully because that's not true, but you don't get woken up by assassins or anything. And the next morning, you prepare yourselves to set out. Now, the plan is to follow the river south to Firefinger. Yeah.
I believe so. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Let me. Who's going to be leading the expedition? Who's the person in charge of making sure you don't get lost?
Our guides.
Or
Our guide plus me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I need a character.
Yeah, so it would be me then.
Okay.
Because
Let me
navigation is survival, right?
grab your guide too. She's got a token. Zaka, where are you? There she is.
Am I correct in that assessment?
Yes. Yeah. It'll be survival. Okay. So there's Zaka.
So, what's the question?
I am.
What are the different colors on the map? Do they signify something to you or to us?
If
or-
you can see it, it's information for you. But you didn't make this map and you didn't ask, so you don't know. You could maybe ask your guide. But you meet. Let me see. Where would you meet up? You're going south, so you'd meet at the gate. Maybe Mellar's Throat. No, you're going downriver. So you meet on the road leading out of the Tiriki anchorage. So you go west, basically out of town and through that area, which means on your way out, you actually pass by something cool.
Side quest.
So
I
on
love
your
cool
way
stuff.
on your way out of town, let me pull you all back to the map here so you can see. So you're going this way down this road here.
Mm.
See that? So you follow that way out. And let me take a look at.
Oh fuck! This is where the dinosaurs are. I can see those dinosaur pens. Yes. Yes.
Oh, and notable point here. North is to the right on the map.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes,
Yeah,
we're heading
that's right.
south out of
You're
town.
heading south. Yeah, the map is not the way it normally is. So the Tiriki anchorage, as you leave the gate of the city, right here, you head out through the outskirts. You can hear the ringing of harbor bells to the south. The sound of lapping waves gets louder as you go. But soon, on your right, as you begin to leave the town, you hear the deep, lowing sounds of mighty thunder lizards. There are huge pens, and none of you, I don't think. I mean, Little Fox and Ishi, you've maybe had like an occasional brush with these things, but definitely Arcturus and Mouse, you've never seen one before. To your right, there are these huge pens where predominantly great sort of armadillo-looking creatures. And they're just like gigantic armadillo creatures with huge long tails, with big bulbous bone, bludgeons on the end of them. And then others that are like kind of vaguely like cow-shaped, but with long tails and a big sweeping fan on the front of their head with 3 sharp horns, 2 coming out of the top and 1 off the end of their nose. And they're being fed as you walk by. We see somebody like getting a bunch of grain and pouring it into their pen, and a bunch of them have all kind of like rushed up to the front and are eating them and kind of butting together and making these
but
deep
they're not
rumbling
dragons,
sounds.
though.
No, that's true. They're not dragons.
yeah, I want to go say hi to these cool animals.
Yeah, totally. The herbivores, the ones that are like available and close. Yeah, no problem. You can walk up.
Yeah, so Little Fox walks up and is like cooing to them and like touches their faces
Yeah.
after asking permission, of course, and like introduces herself to them and is like very polite because they're very large animals.
Yeah, make a make an animal handling check.
Whoa.
Oh yeah, totally. So
and they can understand me, but I can't understand them. So like when I talk, they actually understand my words.
So one of the bigger ones, an older triceratops with her horn broken off, one of her horns broken. She lumbers over to you, while some of the smaller ones, and I mean like smaller, like pups, basically. They're all eating, and she kind of like extricates herself from them and kind of lumbers over to you and like puts her head over the railing of the pen. And one of the handlers looks at you like, back away, like, oh, look out, they're dangerous.
And I like put my forehead to her forehead and like lock eyes, and we have this like moment where we're like sizing each other up, and I'm like checking her out, being like, oh yeah, you're real, like you're a big one, hey. And like
yeah, and she lows in a deep, long, loud kind of like rumble, and kind of like bonks her head against yours.
Yeah, and I'm like very complimentary and like, oh yes, like very prosperous, your children are looking good. And, like,
yeah, and like anyone who's nearby watching this, you can see that the Triceratops is absolutely reacting to the things that Little Fox is saying, right? Like when Little Fox looks at the what language are you speaking when you speak to them?
I speak to them in Sylvan.
Okay, so
it's like the fairy language.
Yeah, when Little Fox turns and gestures at the little ones, the Triceratops like turns its head and like nods in agreement and kind of like turns back and like grumbles.
And I give a good, scratch on some spot that it can't scratch. I like get that for it. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I have this mental image the whole time of Ishi like pushing on your leg, being like, "Come on, we gotta go, let's go."
And it's just like my foot, like just I'm just like,
get out of here. Malik and Arcturus, what are you doing? Because you've never seen things like this before.
Just like wide-eyed and totally just in awe.
Do you pull your glasses off clumsily?
You stand up in the back of the Jeep.
I'm sketching in my journal. I'm sketching a picture of this thing real quick with Little Fox bumping heads.
In the background, you see a half-orc woman in high-waisted shorts, and she has her ear against the side of one of them, and there's a big pile of poop nearby.
Yeah, and I like wave to the handlers. And yeah, like I don't. Anytime I'm like interacting with people, I don't talk to them, but I'm always talking to the animals. So yeah. And I like wave goodbye and like bow.
Okay. There's a loud sound, like a warning noise from a horn, and you turn to the south, and you can see there's a group of armed men and women coming forward, and they're wearing like leather armor, and they have spears. But one of them is holding a long pole with a rope on the end of it, and the rope is attached to a horse-sized bipedal creature. And this creature, it's walking on these kind of bird-like legs, and you see huge hook-like claws attached to its feet. So this long sweeping tail, and from its brow and kind of behind its head and on its elbows and wrists, there are clusters of like long scales. And it's brightly colored and keeps like whipping its head back and forth and hissing. And they're like trying to keep it under control and also keeping people out of the way as they lead it towards a pen. It's got these huge, like brilliant orange eyes as they move forward. And someone comes up to you and it's like, please clear the way, and like tries to move you out of the way so they can.
So I guess the quick question: are D&D dinosaurs not feathered then? The fly-tish ones?
I mean, you're far enough away that you can't really tell. But like, yeah, the scales could be proto feathers, right?
Yeah, because like that's a thing, isn't it? Recently, we're starting to find out that way more of them had feathers. So I'm not.
I really like the way that a lot of the dinosaurs in the game Ark are portrayed. Yeah. So they do that thing. So this,
with like the tufts of feathers.
Tufts of feathers, where wings might be going away over time.
Oh, and don't
growing.
worry, I'm going totem spirit barbarian. I'm gonna take on the aspect all these dinos. I'm gonna get feathers and stuff. It's gonna be fucking sick.
So they're pulling this thing along, and it's like trying to get away.
I don't think you should touch this one. Like, come on.
And yeah, so for this one, it's like 2 football players or boxers like sizing each other up.
Yeah, totally. As it walks by, we
just,
see
like, gathers to her full height and locks like her eyes on the one eye she can see of this thing as it's going by, and it's just like
there's a low, like rasping sort of like almost like a raven, like you know how ravens do that weird clicking thing with their throat.
Yeah.
So it does that and like looks at you, and its lip curls back from its teeth.
Yeah, and like no flinch at all from Little Fox. She just like deadpans this thing.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so eventually the handlers get it into the pen where they were leading it, and you're free to continue on your way.
Awesome. Yeah, let's carry on. I'm glad we got that.
Dinosaur.
Outside of town.
Okay, great. So you leave Port Nyanzaru and find yourself in Chult.
Oh man, I bet Tinder lives in the peak of flame.
Before you, chances are pretty fucking good. So you meet with your guide at the gate as you arranged, and she travels light. She's got a light pack. She has with her. Let me see. She has with her a scimitar and a longbow. And then some other kind of miscellaneous equipment, and she's wearing no armor. She's just wearing clothes. And I think that when she sees who's the I assume it's your cleric Arcturus. When she sees you, she says, "You're going to be very warm in that outfit, friend."
You might be surprised. The variances of temperature at in my home climes, it can get quite warm. I'll be fine.
Arcturus, she's asking you to take your clothes off for her.
Deep purple blush.
It's getting hot in here.
Certainly.
So when you say that, Malik, she looks at you and kind of laughs, and she says, I'm just saying, it's a jungle. It's going to be very hot. Metal armor will protect you if there's a fight. So wise on that front, but it will make for uncomfortable traveling." And she looks at you and sees that no one's carrying a canoe. She says, "So we are traveling on foot into the jungle then, or where are we going?"
Little Fox, you want to field this one?
And I think she just like indicates the river, like with like a gruff hand gesture, just like, and then starts walking.
I had a question actually.
Mm-hmm.
This map, it has areas marked in different colors. Is there something to do with how dangerous they are?
Yeah. So you want to show that to her?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She looks at the map and she nods and she says, "Good map." And she looks at it and kind of squints and like she says, I don't recognize these areas, but I think you might be right. The jungle is plagued by the dead." And she points to this area particularly, and she says, "Many of them in the deep jungle." She shrugs like that could be the case.
We'll avoid that for now. Yeah.
Which side of the river are we on? Do we start on this island or?
Yeah, you're on that side. Yep. Yeah, I'll use her token to track you.
And we'll need to cross the river at some point to get to Firefinger.
Yes.
Yep. And what, since we'll be passing quite nearby it, do you think it's signified by this particular skull and crossbones?
She laughs and she says, "I don't know what the symbology of your culture is, but where I'm from, that means bad news."
Oh, well, yes. Knew what it might specifically be referencing. What we should watch out for.
Nothing I know of there.
All right, well, hopefully we won't be visiting it. We're on a mission for you at the moment, down to Firefinger.
All right.
Yes, we're actually doing what you want done first, so that we can employ your services as time goes on.
She nods and she says, "Help me recover my mask, and I will serve you as best I can."
Fantastic.
Okay. All right. So, so the way this works is because you have a guide, you'll have advantage in your navigation checks. Every day, you need to make a navigation roll, so a wisdom survival check. And I'll make that roll on your behalf because you can't know if you succeed or fail. I will tell you the marker here indicates where you think you are, but there'll be times where you have to kind of like leave because these hexes are 10 miles, right? So you're not going to always be walking along the edge of the river. You might have to leave and go around. There might be obstacles. You want to try to keep the river to your side, but you may lose it and become lost and not be able to find your way back.
Okie doke.
How much, if you'd like to do some estimating, because now's the time before you leave, how many days of food does everybody have?
I have 10 rations. I think
Same.
everyone's got 10 rations.
And rations are a day.
Yeah.
That would be nice and simple. If they did it that way.
Yeah, they are. 8,
We
9.
probably don't have enough to get there and back. With only 10.
Yeah, you have 10 days is enough to get you there if you don't get lost.
Well, we can forage along the way
Yeah.
and steal.
Yeah,
food.
I would have bought 20 then. Sorry.
Malik is like, nope, just gonna bring my own. Okay.
I don't have any money, so I have no choice.
Sure.
Actually, I'll hook you up because I have some gold left, and rations are pretty cheap, I think.
5 silver for a day.
5 silver for a day. Yeah, I can pay for both of us if I go broke, basically.
Great. So we have tons
I'll
of food.
go
I can
fishing.
carry a lot. So,
Yeah, well, I get you to carry all the food, but
Yeah.
because I can't.
Azaka has with her. She doesn't like take it out and show it to you, but she's brought a like a rain catcher for her own water.
I'll go fishing for food.
Wait,
If we stay by the river, it
we've got survival as well. So I mean, I think we're okay.
All right.
Yeah.
With
My
20
carrying
for each of
capacity
us.
is very large, so yes, I can carry all of your food for you.
Yay.
So you can travel if you're traveling on foot. You can travel one hex a day. Now, if you want to, you can hustle, right? You can move at a fast pace, which means you move an additional hex every day. But there's a chance you'll exhaust yourselves doing so, right? Because it's hot and tough to move quickly through the jungle.
Maybe on the way home when we're running low on supplies. We'll do that.
Yeah.
That's fair. And then if there is a situation in which you might become exhausted, like if you don't stay properly hydrated or whatever, there'll be some stuff for that, and your armor will affect you then. But yes, Arcturus, you've prepared a prayer to call forth the holy fluid of your god?
Do we have 10 gallons of carrying things? Everyone got 2 gallons of stuff? Because then I would make sure we have water before we start off.
Yeah, we all have like a couple skins of water each, right?
Okay.
As part of our.
There you go.
So that's how that works. All right, great. Sounds good. All right, so let's set out. What is your what's your survival, your bonus?
It's +5.
Okay. Nice. All right, and let me just check the navigation rules because I haven't done this before. Okay, so you're moving at a standard pace along a coast or lake. All right, cool. So you set out in the morning to head south. So the morning, afternoon. Okay, cool. So the morning and the afternoon go uneventfully. You travel away from Port Nyanzaru, keeping to your left the river, and the river picks up its pace as you start to move away. You're moving kind of upland. You can see on the map there's Nyanzaru is kind of at the bottom of an elevated area, so you're kind of hiking up this hill onto a little flat area. Then you go out into the jungle.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't know, like. Give me an idea. Have you, Little Fox, you spent lots of time in the wild. Ishi, have you ever been on a like overland journey like this?
She is definitely more of a, I think, building on that story that I told about being from Baldur's Gate, she's much more of an urban kobold than a
right
wilderness kobold.
How many hours pass before Ishi starts to complain about the heat or the long walk?
Ishi is actually not wearing many clothes is the thing. Because it's just like some leather armor, the cloak, and then that's kind of it. There's no like under layers or whatever. She got scales. It's fine. Kobold nudity, not a problem.
Yeah, that's true.
And probably a couple hours, then she starts complaining about, that everybody else is taking 1 step and she's taking 4, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Little fox, we gotta go so far. How much longer till we get there?
And yeah, she like stops and turns, and this is like 3 hours into your whining, and just like waits for you to catch up, and then just points up at the sun, and then gestures to the horizon where it will set. And then turns around and keeps walking. Just like we walk until it's dark, and then we stop walking, and then in the morning we're gonna walk again, right? Like that's what's up. And yeah, she like doesn't say anything.
Yeah, okay, I guess, but we should probably start thinking about where we're gonna camp and did we bring all the supplies and yeah.
She just keeps talking like that space. She's not intimidated by your like silent sort of like
No, that's just
gesturing.
how we interact.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things where it is just a comfortable sort of, okay, you're not going to say anything, but I know what you mean, kind of, and then I just continue rambling. So,
okay.
There's a bit of the adventure where I'm like embarrassed about Malik making mention of Azaka being like, you should take off your clothes, and then like I get over it and I question Azaka probably a lot about who was it in Oralunga, was it that they were saying that we should go to ask about the
there's like an oracle at Oralunga that can perhaps give you answers to your questions. So you want to ask her about that? So we could up you have to hustle because she's ahead. She's the guide, right? So she's leading like, so what do you look like? Are you a little flustered? Are you trying to keep it together? You're like jogging along in your chainmail?
Yeah, that's the question, because I'm just wondering what kind of in terms of how it affects a person. Like Arcturus is more used to the cold.
Yeah.
And so like it being hot is definitely like, maybe there's a point at which he realizes that he should have taken her advice, but isn't willing to like actually like ask to stop to do that. So he's probably a little, I don't know how you would sweat underwater.
Fish don't sweat, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think so either. So he's probably just like looking longingly at the river on the side and being like, maybe I should have had them get a canoe and I could just be swimming right now, and that would be so nice. Like, why do we have to walk all this way? It would be so much faster to just go with the current. But kobolds and all that. Just talking to himself. And yeah, he's probably not enjoying the journey as much as he could have, but
Okay, so
do any of you need some of this salve while I've got it out? Anybody want some of this? I got insect repellent.
He's like taking a little scoop of it and like putting it on her neck, and the little mouse pet comes out of the pack and she puts like a tiny little dab of it on the mouse's head. Yeah.
So when you continue on your journey until it starts to get dark, and you continue to press on as long as there's light, and just as the sun is sort of fading behind the edge of the horizon, you hear a terrible shrill sound overhead. It's at first one and then a series of these kind of shrieking noises, and Azaka like puts her hand up and gestures for you to like get down, and she like crouches down and takes cover behind some like rocks.
I hide immediately.
Yeah, little fox like pulls out a javelin and is like in the tree line so that she's protected from stuff from above.
Yeah, do you want stealth roll specifically or just...
If you're attempting to hide, yes, please.
Yep, I will try and get cover also.
I'm,
Not very good at it. But
I will look around and try and go to cover, but I doubt that I'll do a good job of it. Ha
Okay.
ha.
Oh, nobody's
yeah,
rolling very well.
I go invisible.
Okay.
Like she just is gone.
Okay. So the worst, Arcturus, you're caught out, I guess. Like you turn to look, and a dark shadow falls over you. Now it's not coming directly at you, but this you look up, and there's actually more than one of them. You see 6 enormous. At first, you think maybe they might be birds, but then you realize that they have probably as much in common with lizards as they do with birds. You'll see that?
What?
Nope.
Okay,
No.
well, check and see it. I'll bring it over and show it to you on your map. You see
okay.
6 of these mighty creatures.
Oh no.
And they're circling overhead, kind of screaming to one another in a loud voices. And Arcturus, you look up and you see this one of them pull their wings in and start dip and like come flying down towards you. What do you do? Actually, you know what? Hold on. So we see that. We see the shadow fall over you. You look up. Everybody else scrambles. The thing, starts diving towards you, and that's when we cut to break. We fade out to break. The look of your face, like, as this thing is hurling
It's like that Saturday morning cartoon fade back in on the same action.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll do that X-Men cut. So stick around. We will come back and we'll see whether Arcturus escapes the Pteranodon's clutches when we return. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.